Welcome to Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a topic that's, well, it's everywhere, isn't it? Artificial intelligence.
It really is.
Even if you don't actively think about it, it's in your phone, your fridge, maybe, the movies you watch, how businesses make decisions. So consider this your beginner's guide. We're going to unpack it all.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Our mission today is pretty straightforward.
Mm.
Cut through the hype, maybe some of the confusion, and really get down to what AI actually is. How does it work? And, why is it suddenly such a huge part of our lives?
Right.
We want to give you a clear, balanced picture. Think of it as a journey for your curiosity.
Okay, so let's start right there. When I say artificial intelligence, what's the first thing that jumps into your mind? Be honest. For a lot of people, I bet it's something out of a movie, right? Like humanoid robots, maybe they look friendly, maybe not so much. Planning something sinister?
Yeah, sci-fi has definitely painted a very vivid picture. And look, those stories are entertaining. But the AI we encounter day to day, it's usually, well, less Hollywood blockbuster and more
So,
subtle, but maybe even more fascinating in its own way.
okay.
So fundamentally, AI is a branch of computer science.
Huh.
It's all about building machines, or software, really, that can do things we normally think require human intelligence.
Like what kind of things?
Things like learning from experience,
Hmm.
solving tricky problems, understanding language when we speak to it, or recognizing your face in a photo, making decisions based on information.
Right.
And most of the time, it's not a physical robot. It's algorithms, basically, sets of instructions, kind of like complex recipes running quietly in the background.
So my GPS telling me the fastest route.
That's AI. Or your social media feed knowing exactly what video will make you stop scrolling.
Uh-huh.
Or Siri, Alexa,
Mhm.
when they understand your question. That's AI in action, working behind the scenes.
Something that kind of surprised me when I first started looking into this was that AI isn't exactly brand new. It didn't just pop up yesterday.
Oh, absolutely not. Its roots go way back. Decades, actually. You had pioneers like Alan Turing back in the 1950s asking really fundamental questions like, can machines think?
Wow, the 50s.
Yeah. And the actual term artificial intelligence, that was coined by John McCarthy back in 1956. There was this really important conference at Dartmouth College.
Okay.
And for years, there was this cycle, huge bursts of excitement and optimism, followed by what people called AI winters.
AI winters.
Yeah, basically periods where progress stalled, funding dried up, interest kind of faded. The big promises just weren't quite deliverable with the technology they had back then. It was more theory than practice for a long time.
But obviously something changed because now it's everywhere. We're definitely not in an AI winter now. More like an AI summer.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, we're absolutely in an AI spring or summer. And it's really down to like a perfect storm of three key things coming together.
Okay, what are they?
First, just sheer computing power. It's astronomical compared to what they had, and it's much more accessible, partly thanks to cloud computing.
Right.
Second, data. We are generating unimaginable amounts of data. Every click, every picture, every transaction. It's all data AI can potentially learn from.
So much.
Insane amounts. And third, the algorithms themselves got way, way smarter,
Hmm.
especially with breakthroughs in what we call machine learning and a specific type of that called deep learning.
Okay, machine learning, deep learning. Can you break those down a bit?
Sure. So machine learning, in simple terms, is about teaching computers to learn from data without being explicitly programmed for every single possibility. You give it examples, it figures out the patterns.
Okay.
Deep learning kind of takes that to the next level. It uses these complex structures called neural networks, inspired very loosely by the human brain, to find really subtle and intricate patterns in enormous data sets.
Oh, okay.
Things like transformer models, which you might hear about. That's a deep learning technique. It's a huge reason why AI is suddenly so good at understanding and even generating human-like text. So you put that massive compute power, the huge data sets, and these smarter algorithms together. Boom. AI jumps from the lab into the real world really fast.
That makes sense. It's the combination. So with all this advancement, are we talking about just one kind of AI or are there different levels maybe?
Yeah, that's a really important distinction to make. Generally, we talk about three main levels or types.
Okay.
First, there's narrow AI, sometimes called weak AI. This is pretty much everything we have right now.
Right.
It's AI designed and trained for one specific task. Think Google Translate. It translates, but it can't, drive a car. Spotify recommendations, great at music, terrible at medical diagnosis. facial recognition, that it does that one thing really well.
Feel very specialized.
Exactly. Super effective at its one job, but doesn't think like a human in a general sense. It can't transfer its learning easily to a totally different area.
Okay, so that's narrow AI. What's next?
The next level up, theoretically, is general AI, or AGI, artificial general intelligence.
AGI. Heard that term.
Yeah. This is the kind of AI that could, in theory, do pretty much any intellectual task a human can. It could learn, adapt, reason across different domains, maybe even understand a context or have common sense, possibly even emotions, though it's a whole other can of worms.
So like the robots in the movies.
Closer to that, yes. But, and this is a big but, we're not there yet. Not even close, really. Experts debate constantly whether AGI is decades away, or centuries, or if it's even possible at all.
Interesting. Okay, so narrow, general. Is there a third?
There is, although this one is firmly in the realm of speculation and science fiction for now. That's superintelligent AI, or ASI.
Superintelligent sounds intense.
It would be. This is an AI that would vastly surpass all human intellectual capabilities. Creativity, problem solving, social skills, everything. Off the charts intelligence.
Right.
If something like that ever came to be, it would fundamentally change everything, for better or potentially for worse. But again, pure speculation at this point.
Got it. So narrow AI is what we have now. AGI is the maybe future goal. ASI is sci-fi for now.
Pretty much sums it up.
So even though those future AIs are fascinating to think about, it's really this narrow AI that's already making waves today.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that impact. Where is narrow AI actually making a positive difference? Maybe give us some concrete examples.
Oh, loads of places. Let's take healthcare. AI is getting incredibly good at analyzing medical images, X-rays, CT scans, MRIs. In some cases, spotting signs of diseases like cancer earlier or more accurately than humans can.
Wow.
It's also helping researchers find patterns in huge genetic data sets, which can lead to more personalized treatments, tailoring medicine to the individual.
That's huge. What about, say, finance?
A big impact there, too. AI is constantly scanning transactions to detect fraud in real time. It helps banks make faster decisions about loan approvals, trying to assess risk more accurately. And algorithmic trading uses AI to predict stock market movements.
Okay. What else? Transportation?
Definitely. We mentioned GPS navigation. That's AI. But the really big one is self-driving cars. They rely heavily on AI to perceive the world around them, other cars, pedestrians, traffic lights, and make split-second driving decisions.
Right. Still feels a bit futuristic, but it's coming.
It is. And think about customer service. Those chatbots you interact with online, they're getting scarily good. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you're talking to a human or an AI. They handle simple queries, freeing up human agents for complex issues.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And content. I hear about AI writing things now.
Oh, yeah. Content creation is exploding. AI tools can now generate blog posts, marketing copy, even scripts. They can compose music, create surprisingly complex artwork. It's changing creative fields rapidly.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. And one more, education. AI is being used to create personalized learning experiences. AI tutors that adapt to a student's pace. Systems that recommend specific learning materials based on progress. It could really revolutionize how we teach and learn.
It really does feel like AI isn't just automating old tasks. It's like upgrading entire industries.
That's a good way to think about it. It's often augmenting human capabilities, making us more efficient, or enabling things that just weren't possible before.
But, okay, with all this power, all this change happening so fast, it's not all sunshine and roses, right? People have concerns, big concerns. Should we be worried?
That's absolutely the right question to ask. And yes, there are significant challenges and potential downsides we need to talk about. It's not just hype. There are real risks.
Okay, like what? What are the main worries?
Well, probably the most common one you hear about is jobs. The fear that AI will automate tasks currently done by humans, leading to widespread unemployment.
Right. Is that happening?
It's complicated. Some jobs will likely be displaced or changed significantly. But the counter-argument is that AI also creates new jobs people needed to develop the AI, manage it, maintain the systems, data scientists, AI ethicists.
So it's a shift, potentially.
It's likely a major shift, yeah. The net effect is still hotly debated. But job disruption is definitely a real concern.
Okay. What else?
Another huge one is bias. This is critical. AI systems learn from data.
Right. You mentioned the data earlier.
Exactly. And if the data we feed them reflects existing societal biases, racial bias, gender bias, whatever it might be, the AI can learn and even amplify those biases.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine an AI used for screening job applications. If it's trained on historical hiring data, where, say, men were hired more often for certain roles, the AI might learn to unfairly favor male candidates, even if that bias isn't explicit in the code.
Wow. Okay, that's serious.
Very serious. We've seen issues like this pop up in facial recognition systems being less accurate for certain skin tones, in loan applications, even in software used for predicting criminal recidivism. Ensuring fairness and mitigating bias is a massive challenge.
Definitely. What other concerns are there?
Privacy is a big one. AI often thrives on vast amounts of data, including personal data. So questions arise about how that data is collected, who owns it, how it's used, is it secure, could it be used for surveillance or manipulation?
Yeah, all the data trails we leave online.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then there's a sort of broader, maybe more philosophical concern about control. As AI gets more powerful and more autonomous, especially if we ever approach AGI, how do we ensure it remains aligned with human values? What happens if we become too dependent on systems we don't fully understand?
The loss of control scenario.
It's something people think about, yes. Especially in areas like autonomous weapons. It really underscores the need for careful ethical development, for transparency, and for robust regulations.
Absolutely. Ethics, rules, responsibility, those seem crucial as this technology develops. So, okay, we've talked about where we are, the good, the bad. Looking ahead now, what's next? What does the near future of AI look like?
Well, prediction is always tricky. But the trends suggest AI will become even more deeply woven into the fabric of our lives. Probably less noticeable in some ways, just part of the background infrastructure.
More seamless integration.
Yeah. Expected to become more autonomous, making more decisions without direct human input in certain contexts. Also, likely more creative. We're just scratching the surface of AI in arts and sciences. And potentially more conversational, more able to understand nuance and emotion, more human-like in interaction.
And thinking bigger picture, the potential impact, it feels vast. You mentioned healthcare earlier. Could AI help cure diseases?
That's definitely a major hope. Analyzing complex biological data, simulating drug interactions, identifying genetic factors, AI could dramatically accelerate medical breakthroughs.
What about huge global challenges, like climate change?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
AI could help optimize energy grids, develop new sustainable materials, model climate impacts with greater accuracy, manage resources more efficiently.
Exploring space, building smarter cities.
All areas where AI is already playing a role, and likely will play an even bigger one. Designing more efficient transportation networks, managing city services, optimizing building energy use, even aiding robotic exploration on other planets. The potential upsides are enormous. But, and it's a familiar but, realizing that potential depends entirely on us, on the choices we make, how we decide to develop and deploy this technology. The future isn't predetermined. It depends on how we shape AI, and maybe just as importantly, how we let AI shape us. We need to stay awake at the wheel, so to speak.
That's a really important point. Now, for someone listening to all this, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, they might be thinking, okay, this is fascinating, but I'm not a coder, I'm not an AI researcher, what can I do? Does the average person have a role here?
Absolutely. You definitely don't need a PhD in computer science to engage with this meaningfully. There are actually quite a few practical things anyone can do. First off, just stay curious. Make an effort to read articles, maybe watch some documentaries or videos about AI, follow the news. Just having a basic awareness of what's happening is hugely valuable. Knowledge is power, truly.
Okay, stay informed. What else?
Maybe learn the basics. There are tons of great free or low-cost introductory courses online now, designed for non-experts. You don't need to become a programmer, but understanding some core concepts like what machine learning actually is can really demystify things.
Makes sense.
Third, and this is really important, ask questions. When you interact with an AI system or hear about its use, get critical. Ask, how is this being used? Is it fair? Is it transparent? How are decisions being made? Don't just accept it passively.
Be an active questioner.
Exactly. And finally, try to support responsible tech. Pay attention to which companies seem to be thinking carefully about ethics, privacy, and societal impact. Support policies and initiatives that promote responsible AI development and governance. Your choices as a consumer and citizen matter.
So it's about being informed, curious, critical, and engaged.
Precisely. Because the more people understand AI, even at a basic level, the better positioned we are as a society to steer it in a direction that truly benefits everyone.
All right, that feels like a good place to wrap up this particular deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from demystifying what AI is to its history, the different types, its impact, both good and potentially challenging.
Yeah.
We really aim to give you that clear, balanced overview of AI 101, why it matters, what it can do, and maybe where you fit into this whole picture.
Here, hopefully, we spark some thoughts. As we see AI getting better and better, more capable, sometimes startlingly human-like in its outputs or interactions,
Mm-hmm.
it really does make you pause and think, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What does this rapid progress, this increasing sophistication of artificial intelligence, actually mean for our own understanding of what makes us human? What does it imply about our own intelligence, our own creativity? That's something worth pondering long after this conversation ends.
Definitely food for thought. Stay smart, stay curious, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive, and we'll catch you on the next one.